I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me tell you about our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show. Once you've been educated about the show, click on that merchandise tab. It's going to take you directly to our main logo tee, our Pride logo t-shirt, all of our different special event t-shirts, and yes, our brand new Home Base Freakout 2 merchandise. We've got the store all cleaned up, and we've got everything ready for you, Renegades of Puck. Don't worry. All the classic gimmicks you've come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck are all still in the store. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, bed sets, all still there. After all, we sold out so that you can buy in. Stick taps, love, and respect. Each of you have picked up some merchandise over the last couple of weeks. We've certainly had an uptick in sales, and we certainly do appreciate that. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation and an easy way for you to support us here in the Renegades of Puck. Please go to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscription. You can do that on YouTube, as many have done in recent weeks. Renegades of Puck TV doing outstanding on YouTube. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to tune into our video version of the podcast. Now, the audio version of the podcast can be found literally everywhere, so please just search Renegades of Puck on your preferred platform, but let me give you a couple of examples. Google, Spotify, Stitcher, we are on all of those. Amazon, you can find us there as well. Please, the Renegades of Puck podcast is being heard by more Renegades than ever before, thanks to the Full Press Predators and the Full Press NHL network. So we sure to appreciate everybody for checking out the podcast. We are already ahead of last year's total downloads and replays, and we are only in mid-March, so we sure to appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. Venmo, that's how you can help us out here in the bunker. If you're willing, please make a donation by going to Venmo and searching Renegades of Puck or scanning the QR code that's currently on your screen. Thanks to generous Renegades just like you out there that's watching and listening right now, we've been able to make significant upgrades here in the bunker. The camera, it is one of the biggest upgrades we've made in the 2+ years that we've been here in this studio. Microphone, cords, just about everything, amplifier, and now we're looking to upgrade our computer and some of our technology behind the scenes. Thank you so much in advance. Even $1 goes a long way to helping the Renegades of Puck, and every single dollar that's donated goes directly to helping the Renegades of Puck. Home Base Freakout is less than a week away right now. You've seen on our social media platforms, we're starting to tell you about what special guests we expect, who's going to be in attendance, but this is most importantly about each and every one of you Renegades. We have a venue. It's Tailgate Brewery on Music Row, 1538 to Montgomery Street, right across from the Naked Statues, 7 o'clock next Friday night. That's March the 24th. It is going to be an incredible week of hockey here in the Middle Tennessee area, and the Home Base Freakout 2 is going to be a huge part of that. Again, Friday night, all ages, no ID required, no cover charge. Those are the important facts you need to know. So just come on in. We've got a great venue. We've got a great partnership. We got our beer on tap. We've got frozen drink specials. We've got pizzas. We've got all kinds of things going on out there. Tailgate Brewery is an incredible partner, and we sure are lucky and appreciative to have them in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. It's going to be an incredible time. We've been posting and sharing some of the photos and some of the videos from last year's event that we had. This year, we're looking to make it even bigger, and this year, it's about all of us in the hockey community coming together for a night to relax and celebrate the great game we all love in the community we all love away from the rink. So we'll do that Friday night at Tailgate Brewery. Please come on down and join us, and you can probably expect to see a flyer on one of your windshields very soon, because I'll be passing flyers out for the next several days, because we're going old school. We're doing this the right way. We're grassroots, and we're growing this one Renegade at a time. That's the way we do things here in the trenches. It may be a longer, slower, more difficult route, but that's what no half-stepping requires sometimes, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We need to get to the no half-stepping hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. It's time for operation number 731. That's right, time for op number 731. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division. 67 games skated on the season. They have a record of 34, 25, and 8. 76 points on the season. And road record of 17, 13, and 4. 191 goals on the season. 195 goals against on the season. That's a goal differential of -4. Now, When it comes to the Central Division, the 3 spots that are competing for the number 1 spot in the Central Division, all incredibly close. And the 3rd spot, which is the automatic qualifying spot for the Central Division, the Nashville Predators are, frankly, becoming out of reach for that. So now when it comes to the Nashville Predators, we will discuss their playoff possibilities exclusively when it comes to wildcard. But first, as we always do, let me take you through the Central Division as we stand right now. We are not fully completed with the day's schedule, but most of the Central Division teams have already played. The Dallas Stars sit in first place with 87 points. Colorado Avalanche have 86. Minnesota also has 86. I told you it was pretty tight there at the top of the division. Looks like those are going to be your 3 Central Division automatic qualifying teams. The Winnipeg Jets currently hold a wild card spot with 81 points. Nashville Predators just outside the playoffs with 76 points in 5th place in division. Then St. Louis at 65, Arizona at 63, and Chicago all the way down in the basement in 8th place at 54. When it comes to this wild card situation, it is the Seattle Kraken that have fallen out of the top 3 in the Pacific Division and hold the first wild card spot with 83 points. Winnipeg holds the second wild card spot with 81 points. And then you'll find the Nashville Predators and the Calgary Flames each 5 points back. Nashville Predators hold the tiebreaker against the Calgary Flames due to number of games played. So the Predators are 5 points behind the Winnipeg Jets at this moment in time, but they still have 3 games in hand over the Winnipeg Jets, meaning if the Preds are able to win those 3 games at hand, they would be 1 point ahead of Winnipeg. So we will still realistically talk about their chances to make it into a wild card spot. But after what has happened against Chicago and what you're going to find out happened against Winnipeg, the hill is definitely getting a lot steeper. But for the Nashville Predators, absolutely no time to think about that right now, as the first of back-to-backs is complete immediately to the airport, on the plane, and to New York, to Madison Square Garden to face off against the New York Rangers. That'll be the Nashville Predators' next game tomorrow night. On Tuesday, they'll be in Buffalo, and that'll wrap up the quick 2-game road trip back home for what is no doubt an incredibly fun and busy week here in Smashville. Thursday, Seattle Kraken are in town. Friday night, home base freakout at Tailgate Brewery on Mondrian. Saturday, the Seattle Kraken and the Pekka Rinne statue unveiling down at Bridgestone Arena. And Sunday, the Toronto Maple Leafs are here in town. So before we can get to that exciting week of things to come here in the Nashville area, we've got to complete this 2-game road trip, and let's start that in New York, and we got to talk about the New York Rangers. This is going to be the final regular season meeting between the Preds and the Rangers. They met once before. That was back on November the 12th. It was Nashville securing a 2-1 victory over the New York Rangers at Bridgestone Arena. UC Saros 34-35 and picks up the victory. Parson and Jankowski with a goal each in that game. When it comes to the New York Rangers now, on the season, an impressive year. 39, 19, and 10. 88 points as them third in the Metropolitan Division. A goal differential of plus 35 and a home record of 19, 11, and 4. Let's take a look at their most recent stretch of 5 games. As a matter of fact, this is going to end up being incomplete. I'll get to that momentarily. On the 9th of March, it was a 4-3 shootout win at Montreal. On the 11th of March, a 2-1 overtime win at Buffalo. Both of those games were victories, but very, very sloppy for the New York Rangers. They followed up on the 12th with a 3-2 overtime loss at Pittsburgh, then a 5-3 win versus Washington. Now, tonight at Madison Square Garden, the New York Rangers will face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, much like the Nashville Predators, a significant division game with playoff implications on the line. Pittsburgh trying to cover that gap and make their way back in the wild card race, while the New York Rangers are trying to secure where they will finish in the playoff race. So the Nashville Predators will be able to get a chance to see the New York Rangers play tonight versus the Pittsburgh Penguins before facing off against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden tomorrow evening on a Sunday evening game. So Nashville Predators will wait to see what the New York Rangers do tonight against Pittsburgh, but we will talk about the rankings and the matchups between these two teams as we stand right now. For the New York Rangers, 3.26 goals per game is 14th best in the NHL. The Nashville Predators had 2.79 goals per game. It's 26th overall in the league. In the goals against category, New York is 9th, only giving up 2.78 per game, while the Nashville Predators are 12th. It's a respectable number considering where they are on the standings, 2.88 per game. A lot of that can be attributed to, of course, UC Saros. In the shots for category, New York generates 31.9 per game on net. That's 14th best. The Nashville Predators only generate 30.3 per game. That is 21st. In the shots against category, and this could really hurt the Nashville Predators at Madison Square Garden because the New York Rangers really like to pour on the offense. The Predators are giving up 33.3 shots per game. That is 26th in the NHL, while the New York Rangers are giving up 29.3. That is 7th best in the league, and the Nashville Predators have been struggling to find a high number of shots and shot volume as of late. When it comes to special teams, the Nashville Predators power play has simply not been very good all season, and it continues to not be very good. 18.5% conversion rate, 26th overall in the league. They have 38 power play goals on 206 power play opportunities. New York Rangers, though, on the other hand, 9th best power play in the league, 23.3% conversion rate, 48 out of 206. Now, this particular special teams unit for the Nashville Predators is very impressive. Since the All-Star break, a top 5 penalty kill in the league. That's brought their season-wide mark up to 9th best in the league. It is the only top 10 metric for the Nashville Predators at this point in the season. 82% kill rate, 40 power play goals. Against the New York Rangers are 16th in the NHL in penalty goal with a 79.7% kill rate. They've given up 39 power play goals against on the season. We talk about the top 5 scores in the individual statistics categories on each of the teams. Both of these teams are facing back-to-backs, and when we get to the goaltending matchup, I'm going to give you more numbers than I might normally, and I'll also explain why. When it comes to the visiting team, the Nashville Predators, will start on that side of the ledger. The captain, Roman Josi, we are not sure of his availability for this game against the New York Rangers as of this recording. He left after the first period and did not return in that game. So Roman Josi, 18 goals, 41 assists, 59 points, leads the Nashville Predators, questionable for the game against the New York Rangers. Matt Duchene has hit a real dry spell, been on 19 goals for some time now, 32 assists to go with that, 51 points overall. Philip Forsberg still listed as day-to-day out of the lineup, 19 goals, 23 assists for 42 points. Tommy Novak now reached 30 points on the season. The breakdown is 13 goals, 17 assists. Highly impressive effort for him coming up from Milwaukee this year. Colton Sissons is at 11 and 16 for 27. Now, let's talk about the goaltenders. It is not that out of the question that John Hynes comes back with UC Saros tomorrow. It is just over 24 hours. We've seen John Hynes come back with UC Saros in back-to-back situations a number of times. Right now, these points are extremely critical, and while Lankinen at 8.5-1 and a 9.25 save percentage of 2.46 goals against average is a perfectly capable goaltender to get this start, and if I was aligning my goaltenders, I would put Lankinen in this game at Madison Square Garden, but it's not beyond John Hynes to go with his starting netminder in back-to-back days, and the workload for UC Saros is not quite where it was last year, but it's still approaching a very, very heavy mark, and there's another back-to-back coming up next weekend. So for the Nashville Predators, they're definitely going to have to figure out how to situate their goaltenders. But UC Saros now 26, 19, and 7, a 9.17 save percentage, a 2.74 goals against average. Now, on the New York Rangers side of things, I do not know how they're going to deploy their goaltenders between Saturday night and Sunday night, so I'll give you both of their netminders names. I would anticipate, and again, if this was me deploying my netminders, that Igor Shesterkin would get the start against the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is a divisional game, which is more important than the Nashville Predators game. 31, 11, and 7 for Igor Shesterkin, a 9.10 save percentage, 2.63 goals against average. And if we do find a way to get UC Saros versus Igor Shesterkin in this game, it is truly one of the best matchups in all of goaltending in hockey. Two of the best young goaltenders in the league at this time. Just otherworldly what these two can do. Halak, I already gave you his record, 8-8-3. It's a 9.01 save percentage, 2.81 goals against average. So I anticipate Shesterkin will get the start against Pittsburgh, since Saros got the start against Winnipeg, and we'll see Lankinen versus Halak in the game at Madison Square Garden tomorrow, as the Nashville Predators are still clinging to life in the playoff race, but the hill has gotten a lot steeper after today. What am I talking about? Well, that's why we got to go to the Rebirth Sports full game recap. It's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We'll go all the way back to March the 18th, the year 2023, when the Nashville Predators were at home facing off against the Winnipeg Jets in a significantly meaningful playoff race in the Central Division matchup. Tomasino, Glass, and Duchene make up your first line for John Hynes. Sherwood, Novak, and Evangelista, Trennan, Sissons, and Smith. Afanaseyev, Jankowski, and McCarron make up your fourth line. Yossi and Fabro, Luzon and Barry, Gravel, and Foote make up your defensive pairings. And UC Soros gets the start in net. We are just 30 seconds into the game, and Hellebuck comes up with a save on Smith. It's the first shot on goal of the game. 50 seconds into the game, UC Soros comes up with a save on Nino Niederreiter. It's the first save of the game for UC Soros at 4:20 of the first period. Smith hits the post at 5:26. Glass converts for the Nashville Preds. His 10th goal of the season gives him a 1-0 lead. It was Foot's shot, more of a throw the puck towards the net from out near the blue line. It deflected off of Tomasino's body. It goes to Glass. Glass slick hands, puts the puck into the net at close range. 1-0 in favor of the Nashville Preds over the Winnipeg Jets at Bridgestone Arena. 6:28 of the first period, Saros comes up with a save on Nemetsnikov, plus the rebound jam at 8:10. Saros another save on Nemetsnikov. 8:21. Foot is off to the box. 5, 2, and 10. The 2 is for instigating. The 5 is for fighting. The 10 is a misconduct after he goes after Dylan. After Dylan had put, let's call it a borderline questionable hit on Evangelista along the wall, but it was no penalty on Dylan for that hit. There is simply 17 minutes on Foot, 5 minutes on Dylan for fighting. It would only be 1 shot on goal during the 2-minute power play for the Winnipeg Jets. And overall, you got to give credit to the Preds penalty kill. It's been great as of late, and it was very decent over this course of this 2 minutes. 13-17 of the first period. Saros comes with a save on Ehlers. 14-11. Wheeler is off the box. 2 minutes for hooking, putting the Nashville Preds on the power play. Hellebuck comes up with a save on Yossi. It would be Sherwood, though, off to the box for 2 minutes before the end of the power play. It would lead to a 4-on-4 scenario for just 8 seconds, but then Winnipeg would be on the power play for 1:52. Saros would have to come up with a save on Dubois. We would hit the intermission, and they would change the shots on goal after the end of the period. Make note of that. It was originally 3. They switched it to 5, so the shots on goal officially after 20 minutes are 13-5. Now, bookkeeping going into the second period. We start the second period with Cal Foot still in the penalty box, serving his 17 minutes. The captain, Roman Yossi, has not returned for the second period after playing 10 minutes in the first period, and Matt Duchesne is leaving early in this game to get some equipment worked on. He would return, but that gets you caught up in the bookkeeping and the complexities of this game moving forward for the Nashville Preds. 2:45 of the second period, Saros comes up with a save on Barron. 6:03 of the second period, Saros comes up with a save on Menelainen. 6:47, Saros comes with a save on Scheifele. Niederreiter providing the jam. 7:57, Fabro's off the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking. Soft contact, and I thought this call was perhaps unjust, but the officials on the ice deemed it that way. It was a reasonable penalty kill again for the Nashville Preds, and they're able to survive at 13-18 in the second period. Hellebuck's coming up with a save on after the save at 14:32. Saros, a save on Nino Niederreiter. 15:35, a 3-on-1 for the Winnipeg Jets is broken up by the back check hustle of Gravel. Gravel had fallen down in the neutral zone. He gets back up, gets back into the play just in time to affect the outcome of it, preventing Winnipeg from getting a glorious scoring chance on the 3-on-1. Hellebuck at 18-13 comes up with the save on Sherwood. 19-26, Saros response comes up with a save on Nino Niederreiter, who was all over the ice today at Bridgestone Arena. End of the second, Winnipeg out shooting Nashville 22-13. We go to the clean sheet in the third period. We're a minute and 15 seconds in. It's UC Saros coming out with this save on DeMello. 2:33. Hellebuck comes up with a save on Evangelista. 5:19. Saros comes up with a save on Wheeler, plus the rebound follow. But at 6:17 of the third period, it's Ehlers and his 8th goal of the season. It ties this game up at 1 apiece. It was a heavy shot from the face-off dot. UC Saros might have gotten a look at it, but for not very long, because it finds its way into the back of the net. We have a tie game at 1 apiece. Before I could finish making that note, 6:51 of the third period, it's Evangelista breaking the tie, putting the Preds back on top 2-1, his 3rd goal of the season. Sherwood does the hard work, hunting down the puck hard on the forecheck, forces the turnover, gets the puck out to Barry to Novak. Novak with the setup, Evangelista with the finish. Nashville Predators find themselves back on top by a goal immediately. What a response. 7:59 of the third period. Trent is off the box. 2 minutes for hooking. Saros comes up with a save on Scheifele, and the PK does its job again. 10:15 though of the third period. It's Lowry tying the game up at 2 apiece. His 9th goal of the season puts the Winnipeg Jets back on the board unassisted. 10:50 of the third period. Saros comes up with a save on Dubois. 14:50. Hellebuck comes up with a save on Fabro, and both of these teams, understanding the importance and the magnitude of the points that are involved, seem to just lock this game completely down over the final 5 minutes, playing almost exclusively in their their own defensive ends. Kind of weird to see teams not even attempting to move past the red line, but we had both teams clearly knowing that they needed these points. Winnipeg holding Nashville off and allowing them to get just 1 point would be okay. For the Preds, though, Winnipeg picking up even 1 point is difficult. We're at the end of the regulation because over the last several minutes, there was simply nothing to make notations of. Winnipeg does outshoot Nashville for the game, 33-19. That's in regulation. We go to overtime. We start the 3-on-3, and we are only 55 seconds in, and that's when Dubois puts an end to this game with his 25th goal of the season, giving Winnipeg the 3-2 victory in overtime. Winnipeg ends up outshooting Nashville 34-20, so each team with one shot on goal in the overtime session. Preds had the first shot, did not go in. Winnipeg gets the second shot on goal. It does go in, so Winnipeg picks up the extremely critical winner's point, second point in this game, and now has a 5-point cushion over the Nashville Predators. The Predators could have been behind by only 2 points in the standings after today if they had come away with a victory in regulation, but they were unable to do so, and now the hill gets just that much more difficult to climb for this Nashville Predators team. Listen, Predators put up a pretty good effort against a very good Winnipeg Jets hockey team. Without the captain, Roman Josi, I do feel that is the difference. Having to go 5 defensemen for the final 2 periods and not having their leader, not having one of their best offensive players, it definitely hurt this Nashville Predators team. And I sure hope Roman Josi is okay and ready to go for the rest of this season, the rest of this road trip, because got to get on a plane, got to go immediately to Madison Square Garden and lace him up and do it again tomorrow. So we'll get an update on Roman Josi, hopefully by the organization as soon as possible. But him not coming back for the final 40 minutes of this game is definitely difficult. We'll expand on those thoughts more when we take care of the analysis portion of the show. And that's coming up in the next period of action right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. Quick turnaround for the Nashville Predators, but we're well equipped here in the bunker to make sure you have all the information, all the stats, all of the opinions, and all the analysis that you need to be fully prepared to go into that game tomorrow. We'll be back right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
UC Saros was 31 out of 34 in this game. And you know what? He earned his team a point. He was good enough in this game. It was a very tough game for the Nashville Predators. In front of them, they faced a lot of pressure from the Winnipeg Jets, especially early in the first period, the first 10 minutes or so of this game. UC Saros was there each and every step of the way. And, of course, all the successful penalty kills. UC Saros is a massive part of that. So I thought UC Saros played good, just not good enough to steal this game from the Winnipeg Jets, and you got to get some help. You got to get some support from the offense in front of you when it comes to that. And let's talk a little bit about that. Evangelista scored a goal in this game, 2 shots on goal, 12:42 in total time on ice. I'm starting to refer to as the cult of Luke. He seems to do something every time he takes the ice, every time he goes out there in a game. He does something special, and this was another good, greasy, go to the dirty areas, work really hard, bring the jam, anything you want to say about it. That's what Luke Evangelista did right here. As a matter of fact, it was highly difficult to even see how the puck finally trickled in. It finally trickled in off of a defenseman's skate and then made its way through the blue paint and over the goal line. It doesn't matter. The Luke Evangelista puts the puck in that direction, finds its way in the back of the net. He continues to impress now, 3 goals with the team, and he plays such small amount of ice time compared to some other forwards, and he is just simply delivering the goods each and every time out there. I really, really, really am enjoying watching Luke Evangelista play hockey. He seems to take some pretty big hits out there too, and he keeps getting back up and getting back in the game. That shows he's pretty tough. Glass also scored a goal in this game, and I wanted to bring this particular play up, not because it's the Nashville Predators' only other goal in this game, but because it's the second example in very recent stretch of hockey that we've seen where Glass had some incredible hands around the net front. This was a shot from out high that was deflected off a body, and it seemed like Glass never lost focus or tracking on it and perfectly deflected it once it got to his stick right there at the edge of the blue paint and in. Some really, really high-quality net play the last couple of games by Glass and putting the puck in the net with some slick deflections and some slick hands. So another great hands play. You got to make sure you recognize these types of intangibles when you're seeing them. On the season now, Glass is doing quite well. He's putting up points. He's performing at a high level, and he's putting the puck in the net at close range. Again, another player going to the hard areas, going to the greasy areas, bringing the jam, and getting rewarded for it. Do want to talk about Luzon in this game with Roman Josi going out at the end of the first period with the amount of youth on the blue line, with the amount of changes on the blue line as of late. Somebody had to step up, and it was absolutely Luzon in this game. 4 shots on goal. That actually led the Nashville Predators in shots on goal. Also 5 hits. That led the team in hits, and 25-47 in total time on ice. That led the Nashville Predators in total time on ice. So Luzon really stepping up, really performing at a very high level, and the Nashville Predators desperately needed it. He helped get them to overtime. He helped get them that point, and you got to give him the credit for stepping up and leading the D when, he's expected to be a third pair defenseman, moved up to the second pair with the McDonough injury and was performing and filling in quite well. Now with the Roman Josi injury, ends up leading the D corps in total time on ice. I highly doubt Luzon's ever done that in his NHL career, so you got to give him the respect for the performance that he put up there. Now, we have to talk about the Roman Josi injury. Roman Josi in this game ends up skating just 10:06 in total time on ice. I have no indication of what the injury or the significance, the severity, or his availability for tomorrow's game. As soon as the game was over, I wrote the show, came out the studio, and we started recording this show. So I do not know an update on the Captain Roman Josi, but what I do know, if Roman Josi misses any time at all for this Nashville Predators team, it is not only significant, it's devastating. He is not only the best offensive player on the team, but he is the captain and he is the best defensive player on the team. He's the best overall hockey player on the Nashville Predators, and if he's not in the lineup, the Nashville Predators are certainly not going to make a run at the playoffs, and they're going to have difficulty winning games down the stretch here. So hopefully you get an update on the Captain Roman Josi here very soon, but his injury, it's bad for everybody, even for the Nashville Predators, even if they don't make the playoffs, for the buildings they're going to get to play in, the rinks they're going to get to play in, the opponents they're going to get to play against. Those fan bases should be treated to getting to look at Roman Josi and to get to see him skate and play hockey, because he is magical in every sense of the way. And just one more thing before we jump out of the analysis. Matt Duchene stepped up so incredibly in the first few games after the team started to go through its transition point. But now Matt Duchene has gone into a complete shell. He's losing the puck on penalty shots. He's unable to hit wide open nets. And he hasn't scored in 8 games now. And for Matt Duchene, he had stepped up and was really leading by example out there. But I don't know what's happened to Matt Duchene. But if the Nashville Predators have any hopes of climbing the hill the rest of the way, his 19 goals on the season is simply not going to be good enough. He's going to have to find a way to go on a little bit of a tear here down the stretch. So he was so strong those first couple of games after everybody had left this Nashville Predators team or had been traded or moved or whatever it was. But as of late, he's been very much a shell of himself, and to see him out there getting first line minutes and getting some nights 20 plus minutes per game, he's not performing at the level he should be getting that many minutes right now. So not sure exactly what's going on with Matt Duchene. Maybe there's something behind the scenes, a slight injury, something like that. Maybe he's worn down from having to step up and play so many more minutes after all of the trade deadline. Not sure what it is, but I'm just curious enough to sit here and discuss it with you, Renegades, about what's going on with Matt Duchene. There's just something seemingly off about Matt Duchene at this point in time. We'll be back with the box score, some stats, and some closing analysis and words right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast. Sure do hope you'll come back right after these words. The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business, and that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know, because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. Taking a look inside the box score, and what I see is a lot of Nashville Predators youth who is putting up the numbers on the box score. Evangelista and Glass are your goal scorers for this game, so both goals scored by forwards, no goals scored by defensemen. When it comes to the assists portion of things, Tommy Novak, Philip Tomasino, Barry, and Foote, all with assists in this game. So again, 3 very young players on this team picking up assists in Novak, Tomasino, and Foote. So 5 young players picking up points in this game. Always great to see as they continue their development here at the NHL level. Luzon led the team in shots on goal with 4 when it came to block shots. Fabro had 3. Happen to say I've had 3. And just another quick comment on Fabro. Fabro played a tough game tonight. Couple of times he had to go over to the bench. Looked like he was hobbled. Looked like he took some really, really big hits that stunned him and staggered him a little bit. But he still managed to put up 20.05 in total time on ice. And Dante Fabro is in his best stretch of hockey as a Nashville Predator as of late. He's really, really stepped up after the Matthias Ekholm trade. So 3 block shots for Fabro, 20.05 in total time on ice. And again, thought he really, really performed at a good level tonight considering the amount of a beating he took out there. When it comes to the time on ice category, it was Cole Smith leading the forwards, 19.24 in total time on ice. The least amount of ice time skated by the forwards was, I have to say, of 7.14 in total time on ice. When it comes to the defensemen, wow, did they pile up some minutes in the absence of Roman Josi is a minutes eater for the Nashville Predators. Well, all of those minutes had to go and be redistributed, plus with only 5D, everybody had their fair share. All 5 other defensemen got a chance to pick up 20 minutes in time on ice. 25.45, 20.05, 21.06, 25.47. That 25.47 is by Luzon. So for the Nashville Predators, going with 5D the last 40 minutes, very difficult. The numbers started to add up, and Winnipeg was able to take advantage down the stretch, coming away with the victory in overtime. UC Saros 31 out of 34 in this game. That's about the average workload for UC Saros, but he was unable to hold and unable to steal this game from the Winnipeg Jets. It was a highly important and pivotal game in the playoff races in late March at Bridgestone Arena. The Nashville Predators fall to the one team that they are directly in competition with for a wild card spot, the Winnipeg Jets. So Winnipeg comes away with the victory and Bridgestone Arena, and they put a little bit more distance between themselves and the Nashville Predators while taking one more game off the schedule. We'll be back to wrap things up here from the Renegades of Puck podcast. Quick turnaround for the Nashville Predators. We're going to talk about that coming up next. I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, captain of the Renegades of Puck. I'm also tired of the cold, tired of the dark, and tired of being landlocked. I'm also willing to bet that I'm not the only one who could use some sun, fun, and time in paradise with friends. That's exactly why I called our great friend Pete Weber. He told me, call Ships and Trips Travel, and now we're all going to Mexico. That's right, Renegades of Puck, July 15th to the 20th of 2023. Dreams Vallarta Resort in Puerto Vallarta is the destination to hang with Pete Weber in paradise. To join Pete and the Renegades of Puck in Puerto Vallarta, go to www.shipsandtripstravel.com. That's shipsandtripstravel.com, and just click on the ROP on vacation tab. Don't stay landlocked. Join the Renegades of Puck in paradise, July 15th to the 20th, 2023 in Puerto Vallarta. Pete Weber, the Renegades of Puck, and you. It's time to ditch those skates for flip-flops and fun in the sun. After that Chicago game, that loss the other night at Bridgestone Arena, and now, unfortunately, this loss in overtime, yes, the Preds pick up a point, but against the Winnipeg Jets, they allowed the Jets to get 2, so they fall even further behind the Winnipeg Jets. The hill just became that much steeper for this Nashville Predators team. Listen, it was already a pretty slim margin for error going forward for this new youth team in transition to make a run at the playoffs. It became a little bit more difficult after these last 2 games, and they've got to forget about that. Go to Madison Square Garden and try to come away with 2 points against against a very, very fast and very highly offensive New York Rangers roster. And the Rangers roster has been trying to kind of figure things out after the trade deadline as well. The additions of Tarasenko, the additions of Kane and Mott, and a lot of other moving pieces there have kind of slowed the Rangers' progress down this season, or at least their momentum, I guess would be a better word than progress. They are progressing easily towards a playoff spot. But for the Rangers, they are not looking to sit back on a Sunday night at Madison Square Garden against the Western Conference opponent and say, yeah, we're okay with our playoff spot. No, the Rangers are really trying to put things together. So it's a really important game for the Nashville Predators. They want to keep themselves relevant, keep themselves moving forward in the standings and stay putting the pressure on the Winnipeg Jets moving forward. But again, the hill just became so much more difficult to climb. Seattle twice this week. The Preds are ultimately, since they're competing for a wild card spot, right now the wild card standings are reflective. This shows Seattle is holding the one wild card spot with 83 points. That's 7 ahead of Nashville at this point, but 2 games here in Nashville this upcoming week. That means there are a lot of points on the line between those 2 teams. So a big week ahead for the Nashville Predators. They've got some teams that are hunting in their own playoff spots. Buffalo has certainly been trying to make a run. The Seattle Kraken trying to make a run at their first ever playoff race. And then Toronto is coming in here the back end of next weekend. So a lot of important hockey. The Nashville Predators are going to have to put up a big effort at Madison Square Garden if they want to keep themselves relevant and moving forward in these races. We'll be back tomorrow night to cover it all. Renegades of Puck Hockey Club are on the ice tomorrow night as well. So we'll have coverage of that right here from the bunkers. We'll have Predators at Rangers, Renegades of Puck Hockey Club reports coming up right here from the bunker with me, your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. I sure do appreciate each and every one of you jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. With a quick turnaround, you needed to be ready, and I needed to make sure I got all this information out as quickly as possible. So we'll call it the rare early evening release for the Renegades of Puck and the newest episode of Renegades of Puck TV and the Renegades of Puck podcast. Again, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your time. And most importantly, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Renegades. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.